Well, people, when Steve asked me to do a presentation of people who can give a presentation, I said I do something science stuff, and it became crystal shapes, because that was the first thought I had. And my initial idea was to do a presentation about cubes, spheres, and fibers. So I started with the spherules, the spheres, and to my astonishment, there are a lot of minerals which form crystal shapes like spheres. So it ended up as being part one of the crystal shapes, only spheres. Well, definition of spheres or spherulites are spherical or nearly spherical aggregates of radiating crystals that grow outward from a central nucleation point. It sounds simple enough. It's not actually that simple. There are some key concepts and mechanisms at work here, because the spherical aggregates in minerals, often referred to as spherulites, are fascinating and relatively common in geological formations, which I did not know that they are common. And they arise from a combination of crystal growth mechanisms and environmental conditions. And to break them down, the crystal growth mechanisms are six of them: radial crystal growth, nucleation, rapid crystallization, viscous medium, interlocking crystals, and impurities and foreign ions. Starting with the radial crystal growth, the defining characteristic of a spherulite is its radial growth pattern. Instead of crystals growing in preferred direction dictated by their crystal structure, like lattices and end faces and things like that, they grow outwards from a central point like spokes in a wheel. And this radial growth is essential for forming a spherical shape. Nucleation. The process begins with nucleation. It's the formation of a tiny stable crystal nucleus from a supersaturated solution or melt. This nucleus acts as the seed for further crystal growth. And this nuclei can be either homogeneous, forming spontaneously within the solution or melt, or heterogeneous, forming on a pre-existing surface like a grain of dust or a mineral fragment. Rapid crystallization. Well, spherulites typically form under conditions of rapid crystallization, either from a supersaturated solution or a rapidly cooling melt. This rapid growth, otherwise, doesn't allow individual crystals to grow large and well formed. Instead, they grow rapidly and are interlocked. A viscous medium. The presence of a viscous medium, like a melt with high silica content, often promotes a spherulitic growth. Viscosity hinders the diffusion of ions to growing crystal faces, favoring radial expansion over well-formed crystal habits. Interlocking crystals. As crystals grow outward from the nucleus, they interfere with each other, because they don't have a room to grow as a solitary crystal. So instead of forming large independent crystals, they become interlocked and branching, creating a radiating, fibrous, or platy texture. This texture is crucial for maintaining the overall spherical form. And the last of the mechanisms, impurities and foreign ions. The presence of impurities and foreign ions in the solution or melt can also contribute to spherulite formation. These impurities can disrupt the regular growth of individual crystals and force them to adopt a more radial interlocking pattern. So far for the crystal growth mechanisms. We also have environmental conditions. And we distinguish three forms: geological, biological, and atmospheric environments. Geological environments. In nature, the formation of spherulites is influenced by a complex interplay of environmental factors, often leading to a variety of fascinating and intricate structures. While laboratory settings allow for precise control, natural environments introduce a greater degree of variability and complexity. In magmatic rocks, the cooling rate is important. The rate at which molten rock, magma or lava, cools is a primary factor. Slow cooling deep within the earth allows for the growth of larger, often more well-defined spherulites in rocks like rhyolite or obsidian. Rapid cooling, like that of lava flows, often results in smaller, less organized spherulitic textures or even glassy structures. Also important in magmatic rocks is the viscosity and composition. The composition of the magma and lava, including its viscosity and mineral content, significantly influences the ease of nucleation and growth. High silica content, for instance, tends to favor the formation of spherulites. In sedimentary rocks, it's mostly about evaporation of solutions. Spherulites can form through the evaporation of mineral-rich solutions, and as the solvent evaporates, minerals precipitate and can organize into spherulitic structures, often seen in concretions. Then there's a second form, which is called diagenesis, and it's the process of diagenesis, which is the physical and chemical changes that occur after sediment deposition. Minerals can precipitate out of pore waters, potentially forming spherulites. Then, of course, we have hydrothermal rocks. First of all, we got hot springs and vents, and minerals precipitate from hot mineral-rich fluids in these environments, sometimes forming spherulites. Temperature, pressure, and fluid composition directly affect the process, which is logical. But also vein and ore deposits. Spherulites of various minerals can be found in hydrothermal veins and ore deposits, reflecting the changing chemical conditions and temperature as fluids move through the rock. Of course, in the biological environments, there are other things that influence spherulite formation: biomineralization, fungal sclerotia, and plant cells. I didn't deepen that out because the presentation would be too long. And you got atmospheric environments like ice. Ice can form in spherulites, and volcanic ash falling through the atmosphere can also form spherulites. Some spherulites which actually do occur in nature are variolites, oolites, desert roses, and manganese nodules. Some morphology. Well, if I speak about spheres or spherulites, is nearly spherical or globular aggregates of radiating crystals. Hemispherulites, as the name suggests, are half spheres of radiating crystals. Rosettes are flower-like arrangements with radiating crystals. Dendrites, while dendrites can exhibit branching, they can sometimes contribute to radial structures. You have globular aggregates, which are loosely packed collections of radiating crystals, and you've got the botryoidal texture as a form composed of many rounded segments. They all fall in this category of spheres, spherulites, and so on. Now I'm going to show you a lot of minerals which can form spherulites. All the minerals except for one are my own, and so are the photographs. I have to warn you, not all of them are micros. First is allophane, which is aluminium silicate and forms light blue globules. You can see that they're not completely spheres, they're bits pushed together, and these are from Peru, from the Toro Mocho deposit. Aragonite. Aragonite forms many forms of spherulites. These are white globules and from the Plombières in Belgium. This is a variety called pisonite, which comes from thermal springs, this time in the Czech Republic. And by the way, the field of view is indicated on the bottom right of the screen. Aragonite can also form radial-shaped aggregates, which we call flowers. This one is from the Whitianga quarry in the North Island of New Zealand. And they can form complete spheres. These are colorless They appear to be white, but they are colors from the Tønsberg in the Rhineland-Pfalz in Germany. And they also can form spiky spheres with, in this case, also some spherical calcite aggregates, which are the yellow ones, from Chasserais and France. Another mineral, well, a lot of arsenate and phosphate minerals can form spherules. This is a budentite, it's a lead iron arsenate. They form minute, tiny brown spheres, and this one comes from Gestoso in Portugal. Cacoxenite, well, you all have seen cacoxenite as radiating yellow spheres, but these are yellow rosettes with a black center, which probably is the nucleus. And this comes from the Teskov quarry in the Czech Republic. This is another form of cacoxenite which forms yellow spiky spheres. So you can actually see the individual crystals, but together they form a sphere. It's also from Portugal. This comes from Folgosino. These are radio-shaped crystals from carbonate and manganese aluminium silicate, also from the Czech Republic, but this comes from the Huber stock. The next mineral is the cariophyllite, and they also form brown spheres in a cavity here with the quartz crystals from the Gambardella mine in Liguria in Italy. Celadonite, they form pale green spheres from the Regulice quarry in Poland. And you see it's actually a vug which is filled with all the spherical. They need room to grow, so that's why. This is a particularly nice one. These are globules, sky blue globules of Chrysocolla from Mandro in the Madagascar. I've never seen them this bright blue. Then we got a yttrium phosphate, which is Churchite Y, and they form fluffy white spheres. And this is actually from a coal mine in Bavaria, in Germany, called the Grube Leonie 1. Conicalcite, another arsenate, calcium copper arsenate, forms green spheres on globular conicalcite, in this case, from Corte San Valentin in Murcia, Spain. This is also a conicalcite, and this forms green globules in a cavity from the Gold Hill mine in Utah. These are tiny green conicalcite spheres from the Clara mine in Oberwolfach in Germany, situated on fluorite crystals. And these conicalcite spheres are two actually, are also small, but they are not as rounded as the other ones. They have dimples in them, and they come from France and Valgarolle. Next one is a sulfate, it's a copper sulfate. It's called conolite. They're the blue spheres. The light green one and the other ones are the malachite spheres, and they are positioned in a cavity in slag material from Heddenheim, where I think Henk is going to give a presentation now in October. This is again another silicate, aluminium lithium silicate, and it's called cookieite. And I like the name of the mine, the Stand on Your Head #1 mine in Arkansas, in the States. They are small because the field of view is only 4 millimeters. This is a particular one I obtained early in my collection. It's a copper nugget. It's actually a globule because you get loads of spherical aggregates on the outside, and it's only 7 by 7 by 7 millimeters, but I like it. I don't have any other information that it comes from Colorado. It's probably from alluvial somewhere, but don't know exactly where. Well, crystallite forms nice white rosettes from Blaton in Belgium. Calcite. So also it is actually calcium aluminium silicate. And it's from Orskill Bay in Dunvegan in Scotland. Nice color spheres. Kyanotrichite. Well, kyanotrichite is another sulfate with copper in its formula, hence the blue color. And these are blue spiky spheres from the Hingston Down quarry. And this one I obtained, I think, from Richard Bell a while ago. Here we have kyanotrichite with no spikes. It's just blue spheres from Lavrion in Greece. Dufranite. Dufranite is a calcium iron phosphate. It forms green spheres, and these come from the Micromount mine in France. You have dark green ones and lighter green ones. Here they are all the same color, the dufranite crystals of spheres actually, and they are spiky, and they are situated on iron oxide stained quartz, also from Micromount in France. Okay, this one, the large brown sphere, I know for sure is phosphorite, also phosphate. And there are some small spheres around it, which I'm not entirely sure what they are. This comes from the Food Lithium Company mine in North Carolina. Erythrite, a cobalt arsenate, also forms nice pink spheres. I only have one other mineral which has the same nice color, which forms spheres. It will be later on in the presentation. These come from the Alte Bontekoe mine, which is in North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. Faustite. Pale green spheres. Not that well defined, this one, but you can still see they are spheres from the Fuckinghausenhalde in Bestrik, which is also in North Rhine-Westphalia. Only a different part of North Rhine-Westphalia. Then we got ferrostronzite, which forms white-yellow rosettes. I've got quite a few of those, and they also come from Blaton in Belgium. You cannot go there anymore. It's not allowed to collect anymore these days. Ferrosavonite, which is a silicate, and it's actually not a noticeable mineral as such, but I like the way all the small olive green spheres are grouped here. This is from the basalt quarry in Catignano in Verona in Italy. This is a manganese iron phosphate, which forms radial-shaped aggregates, which are gray-greenish, and it comes from the former pegmatite in the Hagendorf South in Bavaria, Germany. Also doesn't exist anymore. My favorite spherical producers, goethite. And these are golden brown spiky spheres with normal spheres surrounding it, and they come from the Umnil mine in Morocco. These are, well, almost velvety olive green spheres from the Clara mine in Germany. And these are brown spheres of goethite from the Dice mine in Arizona. And my last goethite specimen is a potriodon aggregate from El Potosi mine in Chihuahua, Mexico. It almost looked like psychedelic. And the only mineral which is not one of mine, this one I got from Steve, is gold. It's not completely rounded, and you can see some crystal faces on the outside. So I named it a globule, and it's from the Bear Mountain mine in British Columbia and Canada. Thanks for that, Steve. Homotone. Homotone presented here as radial-shaped or hemispheres, actually, and rosettes from the Gamatesa mine in Italy. Hematite. Well, hematite can form radial shapes as such. Usually you see bands, but sometimes they do make radial shapes. And this is from a mine which I haven't heard from, Ottowein and Schuttenhofen in Baden-Württemberg in Germany. Never been there, but I got hold of this piece and it looked really stunning. Hernesite. These are tiny white spheres with some prismatic gypsum crystals on slag material. This is from Villanière in Occitanie in France, in the eastern part of France. Kankite, well, as the name suggests, it comes from the mountain Kank, which is in the central Bohemian region in Czech Republic, and they form yellow-green globules. Kidwallite, pale green spheres in cavities in matrix, again from the Montmain mine in France. And this one is an odd one. I only have one specimen of lucibiite, and this forms green globules in a cavity in matrix from the Rainer mining field in the Banska Bystrica region in Slovakia. Malachite. I have multiple spherical mineral specimens from malachite. I only showed you this one. These are green spheres from the Isolation mine in Snelston in the UK. Interesting one, melanophlogite, which is a mineral which contains organic material, hence the C2H17 in the structure. This is an opaque sphere, and the best ones come from Fortulino in Italy. The next one, there are two translucent spheres of melanophlogite, and they also come from Fortulino. Yeah, mercury. In normal temperatures, mercury is fluid, and fluid tends, due to its tension on the outside, to form spheres. These are very tiny spheres on a piece from the Almaden mine in Spain. Miselites, another silicate. Color spheres, you can see the indentations of the individual crystals, which are there, but I still call them spheres. From the Vorburg quarry in Baden-Württemberg in Germany. These are globules, yellow-green ones, from mitridatite. And it also comes from the former pegmatite in Hagendorf in Bavaria, Germany. Montmorillonite, another, well, not so obvious mineral to collect, but it also makes globules. In this case, creamy white globules. You can also see some probably philipsite crystals in the lower part of the picture, and these come from the nickel quarry in Oberwiedesheim in Hessen, Germany. Mullite. I have specimens from mullite which are completely spherical. These are with spikes, creamy white spikes, from the Kassel quarry in Ettingen in Rhine-Palatinate. And some white fluffy oakenite spheres situated on quartz crystals from Shirdi in the Maharashtra region in India. So you can see they come from all over the world. This is by far the nicest one I have, which is olivenite. It's a radial-shaped cluster with a globular halloysite, white halloysite, surrounding it. And it's from the Jota mine in the from Atacama, Chile. Opal. This is a very, very tiny opal sphere, and it has its nucleus inside. It's from the Tateyama hot springs in Toyama, Japan, and it's only 1.6 by 1.6 by 1.6 millimeters. Very, very tiny. Another form of opal is the variety Menelite, and they always form as white opaque, not always spheres, but aggregates, because I've seen pretty weird ones. But this one is well, nearly spherical, and it comes from Agramon in Spain. Not all spheres are white, brown, or green. These are purple from the phosphosideриtes from the Sítio do Castelo in Fogacinho in Portugal. The picropharmacolite, they form in this picture white globules from the Salsigne mine in France. Plumagumite, well, as you can see, they are not actually spheres, they are globules. There are some other minerals in the picture, but I have no idea what they are. And this one comes from the Yangshuo mine in Guangxi in China. Prehnite, a lot of opaque spheres from the Isle of Mull in Scotland. Pseudomalachites, they form normally botryoidal aggregates. Occasionally they will form some spheres. I don't have one in my collection. I'm trying to obtain one. And this is from Dippenweiler in Saarland in Germany. It's actually the only specimen from that region I have in my collection. Pampelite, magnesium, they form green hemispheres in a rock, probably basalt. And this one comes from the Delaware mine in Michigan. And then I have one which is not really a micromount, but too pretty not to show. It's a pyrite one from the Spartan mine in Illinois. And this one is actually rather large, but it's also flattened, and you still see the radial shapes in it. This is one I obtained not too long ago. This is a pyrite globule, and you can still see the end phases of the crystals in it. So it's not actually a sphere, it's a globule, and it comes from the Tonggutang copper and silver deposit in Hunan in China. Also not a micro. Well, this one is very saleable under the name of grape agate, which obviously it isn't. It's quartz and it's chalcedony, and they make perfect purple botryoidal aggregates in Sulawesi, Indonesia. Rosacite. This is the nicest rosacite I have in my collection. It forms blue-green fluffy spheres from the Kamarisa mine dump in Lavrion in Greece. But rosacite can also be just blue-green spheres. This one comes from the Block 14 open cut in Broken Hill in Australia. Well, we did have the ferry saponite earlier. This is a saponite, and it forms green spheres in the cavity from the Horseshoe Dam area in Arizona. So by now you get an impression of how many minerals can form spherules. Scodicite, it forms flowers, white radial-shaped aggregates from Saint-Panelon in Nouvelle-Aquitaine in France. It's the more western part of France. Scorodite, well, everybody knows the well-developed, lustrous blue scorodite crystals, which are all over the place. But these are botryoidal aggregates. Also scorodite from the Hingston Down quarry in Cornwall. Scorodite can also get pale green spheres. This one comes from Sunion in Lavrion, the Sunion area in Lavrion. Smithsonite, well, these are not spheres at all. These are globules, and they come from the Kamarisa mine dump in Lavrion. Sashimyrite, light green spiky spheres from the Majuba Hill mine in Nevada. Well, this is a nice picture. It shows white stringite spheres with a coating, probably a silica gel of some kind, from the Hrvek mine in the central region in the Czech Republic. What special like it is that you can see it clearly, that the center is the stringite and that there is a coating over it. Well, nice golden yellow rosettes from strunzite from the Gory mine in Viseu, Portugal. Those are tiny. Took me a while to get them as nice on the picture as it is. Thomsonite. Well, it says here Thomsonite CA, not confirmed, so there should be Thomsonite group. They always present themselves like colorless translucent spheres from the Littleton Harbour board quarry in New Zealand. Even turquoise makes sort of spherulites. These are blue globules from the Cahé in Wallonie in Belgium. And this is the second mineral which shows its pink color. It's vereskite. It's nice pink spheres from the Eduardo claim in Minas Gerais, Brazil. A classic picture of wavelite, a green radiating rosette from the Evans turquoise mine, Baja California in Mexico. This is a textbook wavelite. But wavelite can also look like this. White globules from the Miguel Vacas mine in Évora in Portugal. And the last of the showing minerals is the blue-green globules of zinco-libertinite from the Palabanda quarries in the Republic of the Congo. I have a lot more, but then the presentation would have been way too long. So I'll keep it with this. So as a recap, the formation of spherical aggregates in minerals or spherulites is a dynamic process governed by different crystal growth mechanisms. These factors combine to create the distinctive spherical shapes and radiating structures that are characteristic of spherulites in a wide variety of mineral specimens and species. They provide a fascinating glimpse into the complex interplay between chemical composition, physical conditions, and crystal growth processes in the Earth's geological history. And of course, the environment in nature is a complex and dynamic stage where spherulites form under the influence of varying factors like temperature, pressure, fluid composition, and biologic activity. This leads to a remarkable diversity of spherulite structures with unique compositions and origins. Studying these natural spherulites provides valuable insights into geological and biological processes and helps to understand the interplay between the mineral formation and the environment. They are a tangible record of past conditions and a beautiful demonstration of nature's self-organization capabilities. And of course, there are the man-made ones. I have about 20 of these spheres, not for the collection, but they look amazing in the stand. Well, I've done quicker than I thought, but now there is time to get some questions answered, I think. I'll have to stop sharing.
Yep, excellent, Frank, excellent.
I think I got here just in time.
Yeah, it will be on YouTube, so.
I missed the first 5 minutes, that's all, so that's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
That's very good, very interesting. Thank you. Very good.
Yeah. So
I think
great collection of those things.
I think one of your comments
Lovely.
in there, Frank, was quite a valid one as well, and that is you've only shown a very, very small portion of what these particular habits can actually.
I was amazed when I studied my own collection. How many of my specimens were of spherical origin? Really?
Frank, when you mentioned hemispherulite, that struck me that, well, isn't that just a broken open spherulite?
Yes and no. Sometimes there's not enough room to grow a full sphere. Like the
Pompelliite looks like.
Yeah, broken. They look like broken, but they're not.
Right.
Actually,
that was the
when
one
I
that
removed
I said.
The cap of the basalt, that's where they were.
Yeah. That's the one that I've seen that looks like a hemi.
Yeah.
And I don't recall seeing very many spherules of that material. So yeah, that was just my question, is how to distinguish that from a broken spherule.
Yeah, difficult. But then again, interpretation is free. Who knows?
There you go.
Any more questions? The next one, the crystal habits, is also nice, which is even more how you interpret things. It's not a given thing. There are some standard rules, but some minerals form in more than one habit.
Barb, I was just asking, which mineral were you referring to? I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I think Frank and I were speaking at once. Pompelliite?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Just your comment about the Littleton Hoverboard Quarry. I always have an issue with the Thompsonite versus the calcite.
Yeah.
Without
an analysis, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah, and it has both. Yeah. Which is
correct.
May I make a remark? You made you showed a photo of a faustite from Wackinghausen, and unless that's analyzed, I would suggest that you think that it's planarite instead of faustite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be planarite. I don't know. It's not analyzed.
No,
I got it from a German dealer, but it just said faustite.
Faustite and planarite both
Yeah.
occur there, and the green stuff is mostly planarite. And faustite
Okay.
all whitish.
Yeah, I have to go
From
what
there.
the dealer sent me with on the label. So
Yeah, of course. But these things are very hard to distinguish from each other.
yeah,
But
yeah, it might as well be planarite. I don't know.
mostly the green ones are planarite, and more whitish ones are faustite.
I will examine that, Hank. I will do.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions from anybody? If
I
not,
hope you enjoyed the talk.
Great
Very
photos.
good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Very good.
and,
Yeah, good photos.
and you did very well time-wise, Frank, as well. Thank you.
Like I said, Steve.
Yeah.
All right. See you all in a month or so.
Yeah.
Of course.
What's the date? What's the date?
It'll be your 17th for
Oh,
you.
no, then I'm not here.
18 for us.
Okay. No, I'll be in.
Again on holiday,
Portugal
Kate?
by that time. Yeah, Portugal.
You'll be
Oh,
on
Portugal. Nice.
Yeah. We leave next Sunday, so stay away for a month.
All right. Have fun there.
I'm
Yes.
retired, you know.
Yeah, you can do what you want.
That's my approach.
Yeah, of course. So see you in 2 months.
All right. That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.